Oh, it's getting us 99. What? Oh, the silent. Okay. Get oh no, that's not what I wanted. Okay. This off. Got it. Done. Okay, there it is. Ooh, I should probably close this. It's gonna be real loud. If I don't close it. Oh, I don't like that. I'm looking like that. Okay. Let me start my bed like this. Yes, I can get all these things all figured out so that I don't have to set it up every time. There, like that. Hopefully the phone will stay right there. Oh, geez. I don't like this angle very much. I'm gonna have to get a better phone holder if I'm gonna do a lot of this stuff, I guess. That'll do, I suppose. Okay. So it is Beltane today, or we're celebrating it today. Actually, I'm not sure if it's the exact day, but it was dance and it was nice and it was outside and the sun came out. And I was very brave. So funny how I burp a lot when I'm talking about stuff, getting it out. Actually makes perfect sense. I guess I'll just talk about burping. That's one of the things I've been needing to get out. Okay, so I have always been a big burper. I always had a lot of burps. They got real loud. They got real big. So big that my teenage brothers, when they were teenagers, thought it was so awesome how big my burps were. And they would want to show it off to their friends. And the only thing they were disappointed about was that I couldn't really do it on command. I mean, I suppose if I drank soda or something. But other than them, and I suppose my stepdad liked it too. I don't know. Well, he burped a lot also. Other than that, I got a lot of shit for burping. I would have, family members would be like, God, that's so disgusting. Will you not do that, please? Or just, tease me, or, it's just inappropriate to burp a lot. Oh, and a lot of pathologizing. A lot of people saying you obviously have a health issue if you're doing that much burping. And you know what? No, that's not necessarily true. That's a little bit better angle. God, my arms look real bad. So yeah, I was super relieved to find out that burping is actually a way of clearing energy, emotional energy, or just. And so I've noticed, particularly over the past couple of years, basically anytime I'm talking about something that's like I'm clearing, I immediately start burping. So that's cool. Let's see. It seems like there's something else. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, gosh, I did a video recently that I was trying to get out a lot of the near-death experiences. Try to get those out. And yesterday I was really upset about just the new awarenesses I was having around, my extraordinary sensitivity, and then how intensely difficult, there were a lot of aspects of my childhood that were intensely difficult, partly because I was so sensitive. So, we didn't have any running water, so I couldn't just take a bath or shower anytime I wanted to. Couldn't wash my clothes anytime I wanted to. And, it's pretty dirty living out in the sticks. I hated being dirty. I hated having to eat stuff that tasted disgusting or had a terrible consistency. And, you can't not eat what's given to you when, it's not like we didn't have so much abundance of food that it was reasonable for it to let really any of it go to waste. And even to this day, I feel sort of bad anytime I have scraps or leftovers because I really want to give them to chickens, but I don't have any chickens handy, so I can't. So we throw it in a compost bin, and who knows what actually happens to it. Let's see. I think that was I think I covered the main ones that happen in Hawaii. Pretty sure I talked about the bear screaming situation where there was really no bear, but the screaming scared the grown-ups that the bear was there. A bear was there. Let's see. Besides just the general, like, keeping an eye out for wild animals that might get hungry and come closer to our house, I don't think I had a lot of near-death experiences until I got a little bit older. And maybe they weren't all on boats, but a lot of them were. So, yeah, and going out on the boat with my stepdad, Pete, was a really, confusing and conflicting kind of experience because on the one hand, it was the one place that we actually got along better than anywhere else. And he almost never did. I mean, he still called me names. He was still mean to me, but not as bad actually as when we were home. A lot of times we had another deckhand, so maybe that's part of why he wasn't quite as mean to me as he was at home. And there was almost none of the stuff where he was inappropriately touching me or talking about sex or stuff. So none of that discomfort and feelings of being upset with him about that were as present on the boat when we were out working. So that was a relief. But I still was always always nervous. I was kind of keeping away from him, but at least those were the times when I got to hear more of his stories and got to really feel like we were, we kind of enjoyed each other's company a bit more. We played cards. And there were times when, he would be proud of me and be like, this is my kid. She's, my deckhand, and she does a really good job. And he taught me a lot of really important things line management. How do you gotta make sure your lines are always coiled real nice so that you don't trip on them, they don't get in the way, and also they don't get tangled when you need them. And so to this day, it makes me nuts when someone leaves a hose or cords or whatever in the walkway and it's not all coiled up real neat and tidy. So I think the first really scary thing that happened on the boat, it makes sense. We were in a skiff, which is not very big, and it's just an open skiff. So, it's not meant for big water. And we weren't in big water, but we were in the bay, Cachemak Bay, and we were halibut fishing, long line halibut fishing. I think it was a mixture of for money and for food to take home. And, I'm not quite sure why he and I were going out in the skiff, why he wasn't on a bigger boat or something. I'm not sure what was up, but I think I was 13 or 14. And we had sort of a janky situation going where the long line was sort of wrapped around a handle, like a shovel handle that was broken off, and it was in one of the, is it called a gunnel? I don't know. There was holes in the side of the boat, on purpose. The handle was sticking up out of one of those, and the line that we had out in the water to catch fish was around that. So it was part of the setup. It was sort of a Mickey Mouse setup. And we had an outboard motor on that skiff. And I don't really remember how it happened exactly, but I feel like there was something going on with the outboard, and
I was doing something and I was frustrated and upset and he was yelling at me, I think. And the line pulled on the handle in such a way that it like came down really hard on my arm. I think it was this arm. To the point where I was afraid it was broken. And it hurt so damn bad. Of course, I started crying, and then he yelled at me about that. And he was like, "It's not broken. Suck it up." So luckily it wasn't broken. And we did end up catching like a humongous halibut, and it scared the crap out of me because he had to. I think he shot it. Did he shoot it? Yeah, I think he shot it to kill it. He also could like beat him on the head, but since we didn't pull that halibut in, it was just like kind of too big to bring into the skiff. He shot it instead of beating it, and then tied it to the side of the skiff so that we could tow it back to the cannery in town. So I wasn't near death, but it was scary and it was upsetting. And then we went out in a boat. I can't remember what it was, but it was at night. I think we might have just been doing like some sort of special trip, and it was just the two of us. And we hit more weather than had been anticipated. And I didn't often get seasick, but I got really seasick this one time. And he was really frustrated about that because he needed my help and I was too sick to help. And then I think we had an engine problem. Like, I don't remember what went wrong, but something was really wrong. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there was an engine problem, and there was, pretty bad seas. And I'm sick and I'm barfing into a bucket because I can't barf over the side because it's not safe. And he's giving me peppermint tea, and for like 30 years I couldn't really stand peppermint tea. And it was dangerous. If he hadn't been able to sort out whatever was wrong with the engine, it would have been a life or death situation. Luckily, it didn't get real serious, but it was scary and upsetting. Yeah, and it sucks to have someone yelling at you when you feel like shit. So like I was choosing to be barfy. That one's not very clear memory. So I think that was one of my earlier boat experiences. Like he was like training me to be a deckhand, but trial by fire. And then the next big one, this one was actually a near-death situation. Pretty sure this was the summer after either my 8th grade or my freshman year. And we were on a boat called the Wilson, and we were what's called a tender, which means we would go out to the fishing grounds and we would take fish from the fishermen so that they didn't have to leave the fishing grounds to get their fish taken to the cannery. So we would transport the fish for them. And the Wilson was a real old boat. It had a brass clutch, and we didn't know it, but the brass clutch was like kind of stuck or something, and so it was smoking in the engine room, and it was creating carbon monoxide that was getting trapped below deck. And I needed a nap. It was a perfectly reasonable time for me to take a break or take a nap. So I went below deck, which is just, there was a bulkhead between me and the engine room, but definitely air from the engine room was coming through. And I took a nap for a while. And apparently I got carbon monoxide poisoning. And luckily, Pete wanted a sandwich, and he wanted me to come up and make it. So he said, I vaguely remember him yelling for me, and I wasn't responding, and I couldn't really wake up. And so after a while, he sent Vicky down to check on me and to wake me up. And at that point, they were both kind of mad. They're like, "Come on, get your ass out of bed." And I was like, "I can't. I don't know what's wrong. I can't wake up." Or maybe I couldn't wake up at all. I don't remember if I was able to verbalize. I think I just was like so groggy that they were able to realize something was wrong. And then Mickey went and got Pete and brought him down, and he came down and saw that I was clearly having a problem. So obviously he had to get me to where there was fresh air. The bummer was that we had to go through like a fairly small hole, and he basically had to drag me or carry me out because I couldn't do it myself. And then we had to go around like the outside of the cabin, where really there was just like a bar to hold on to. There was no railing. It wasn't really meant for walking in that area. So you're supposed to like walk real careful and hold on to the bar the whole time. But he's carrying me and I'm like all flopping, and he's trying to hold on to the bar, and he's like trying to wake me up. And I'm sure by the time getting some fresh air probably helped me revive slightly, but I wasn't able to do anything for myself. He's still carrying me around the outside, and I do remember sort of waking up and going, "Fuck, I'm out over the ocean." And he got to drop me, like, because he's kind of holding me off to the side, and so I was literally just hanging out over the ocean. That was scary. And then he took me into the cabin, and he's trying to figure out like how serious is it? Does he need to call life flight, which is a huge deal. It's so expensive, and no life flight, because I just knew that it would be like a huge expense for the family, and I didn't know if I was dying or not, but I just knew I didn't want life flight. I didn't want a helicopter come flying out to wherever the hell we were and picking me up. So I was like, no, just, let's just go in. And I don't know how far away we were from shore. I don't know how long it took us to get to shore, but he had definitely called ahead and, called and said we need a ambulance waiting for us when we arrive. You gotta get her to the hospital. And I revived a little bit on the trip, but not very much. And then when we arrived, there wasn't a ambulance waiting for me, and so Pete grabbed the guy. I'm not sure I witnessed it. I think I witnessed this actually. He grabbed the guy who was supposed to have called an ambulance by the neck and threw him off the dock and into the water. And it wasn't like actually a dock really close to the water. We were up like higher, well above the water. So it was a little bit of a fall for the guy. And I'm sure it was deep enough. He didn't die or anything, but Pete was really stressed. And then apparently they took, I think Mom met us. I think he was even able to call Mom, and I think we came in, Mom and the boys, and we came into Kenai, I think was the closest town. I don't remember for sure. But Mom and the boys met us, and were the boys there? Maybe it was just Mom. I don't know. But they took me to the hospital, got me some oxygen. I don't remember any of that. But obviously I survived. So that is likely close call number 3. And we abandoned the Wilson at that point. We're like, fuck it, he's like, tie it up, we're leaving it, we'll call the boss, tell him he can come pick up his fucking boat. So that was also really expensive, because then we didn't work that summer as much as we had planned on. Yay. I think that's it for now, and I'm at the store, so time to stop this video. Okay, that was some good